Hello, my name is Joe, and welcome to another edition of Joe's Super Fantabulous PC Gaming Channel, where I'm here in the world of Warcraft, and I'm playing it on Linux. Specifically, this is a Zorin 18 core. So if anyone ever told you you can't play WoW on Linux, well, I'm here to tell you that they are wrong. So this is part of the Love is in the Air event for 2026, and I've been trying to grind a mount. They have a rare mount drop that always comes out all the time in this event. And I would love to get one, but the odds are low. I probably won't. But in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, you know, Joe, if you don't run the camera, that'll be the one time the mount drops and you won't be able to show anyone. And you'll say, hey, I got the mount. People are like, yeah, sure. Of course, I could pull it out and show it to them, but it's more dramatic to see it actually drop. And so I thought I'd go ahead and take you along with me. Now, I was thinking to myself today, I was like, I wonder if these videos get kind of boring, you know. Because it's just me grinding the same dungeon over and over and over again, trying to get them out. And it occurred to me, I thought, you know what? I could find something interesting to talk about. Let's see, the frames are catching up as all the add-ons are loading. Oh, Zygor says I have an upgrade. The Mysterious Torch is an upgrade? Yeah, all right, especially for this spec. That is a significant upgrade. Alright, so here let's go ahead and we will queue because our character is otherwise all set to go for the Crown Chemical Company. Alright, so what is the topic for... Woo! Instant queues. It's good to be a healer, huh? So, let's see. What I was thinking to myself is I'm working on a series. I wanted to make a video series about Linux gaming. And the reason it's going to be a series rather than be like, yep, this is how you install Linux, good luck, you know, it's there's all kinds of caveats for getting Steam running, getting GOG running. There's little gotchas about how, you know, you download Steam. Yeah, unfortunately, Zorin, if you go to their software store, has this pretend Steam thing in there. Don't download it. and I will demonstrate that in my video. You want to download it from Steam's website and nothing else. I don't know why Zorin does that. They really should remove that thing and just point to the actual Steam client to be downloaded, not some community supported thing that Steam's not going to allow you to use. And there's other little gotchas, like for example, when I record videos on OBS, the video recorder, or I should say player that comes with Zorin won't play them. It doesn't like the formats that I choose. But there's a better one called Celluloid, which again I'll demonstrate as part of the videos. It's like, okay, you know, forget the one that comes with it, you want to download this. Currently I am the healer. So here, let's keep everybody alive. And there are lots of little minor things. One of the other things that also occurred to me is I had someone ask me, like, okay, Joe, you're recommending Zorin, and that's what you're using, but why? And I was like, oh, you know, that's a very good question. Yeah, because they're like, well, there are gaming distros like Bazite. You know, I could just use Bazite. And I'm like, yes, you can. If you want your computer to be fantastic, super easy for gaming, I don't have anything bad to say about Bazite. The only thing is that your use case might be a little different than mine. And I'll tell you why. You know, when I use my Windows machines, I was using them both for work, school, whoops, uh-oh. Oh, actually, the health that's getting low is mine. I was like looking at that bar going down. I was like, who is that? I was like, oh, that's me! Spam those heals. You know, I found myself using macros to heal more than darn Healbot, because I could just really crank them up here. Whoops! Oh, dang it! And he got me. Well, that's what I get for not paying attention. Because I'm thinking about what I wanted to say rather than paying attention to the fight. But DPS on this group might be a little low. Oh, and I can't release. Oh, here we go. This dead person should be able to revive themselves, but they're going to be lazy. I'm going to be nice. Oh, okay. I guess someone else beat me to it. So let's see. What do we get? Do we get a mount? No mount today. Well, anyways, and so I thought to myself, as I'm planning out this series, it's going to be a couple of things. I was thinking the first video is like, okay, Zorin, why Zorin? The second is how to install Zorin. And then there'll be another video, how to install Steam, another video about how to get GOG games working, another video, how to get World of Warcraft working. The idea here is that you only have to watch the segments, the videos that are of interest to you, rather than like some 5-hour video. Although, to be honest, if you want the big version, I was actually thinking of having one all-encompassing video that puts them all together so that people have a choice, you know. Yeah, I know. I could set it up to where it's like, well, you just jump to the part of the video that you want. It's like, it's kind of annoying. So I'm going to have separate videos for, like I said, each kind, because if you're only interested in how do I get WoW installed, you don't want to see all the other stuff, you know, if you've already got your thing up there and running. And so I'll have individual videos for different components and one big video which is like soup to nuts. This is me putting the whole thing together. Oh yeah, it's time to switch characters. What am I doing? So anything wise, let's see. Here we go. Let's switch to a tank. Also going to get a nice instant queue, I hope. So my reason for picking Zorin is that for me it's like the most Windows, not Windows. So with a gaming distro, it's like, hey, it's all about gaming. Gaming's in your face. Gaming full screen mode. You should only want to game on Steam and da 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 da. You know, I'm like, okay, yeah, but I also want to, you know, lots to do other platforms. Yes, I'm sure you can get it going. I'm sure there's a desktop mode. But what I like about Zorin is that it's primarily a desktop that can game, which is what Windows always was. It's like, well, going back to Windows 7, you know. Windows 7 was actually the last version of Windows I liked. I know, some people are like, oh, but I liked XP better. I was like, okay. I don't know. For me, XP was always like the Fisher-Price version of Windows 2000. I'm dating myself, but, well, it's not a secret. I have been using home computers for as long as there have been home computers. In fact, my very first one was a TRS-80. And if you don't know what that is, go ahead and put that into your search engine. You're like, whoa. You're not 18. I was like, wow, yeah, you figured that out, huh? Although, I like to think that I stay young at heart. So, in my mind, in my heart, I will be young forever. Well, anyways. So, and trust me, the actual videos for the series will be scripted and a little bit more organized. Here I'm just like rattling it off while I'm in the middle of gaming, just to fill up the dead space. So my thought is that Zorin is, you know, most people use their computers for more than just gaming. You know, I'm not looking to say, okay, let's turn a PC into a console. Consoles are fine, but I need to do other things. Well, for example, I'm recording videos, I edit stuff, I do, you know, AI stuff, you know, or not technically AI, depending on what your feelings are on LLMs, um, you know, generative AI stuff in terms of image generation, video, scientific stuff, training AIs, you know, the works. So, all kinds of fun things, and I do them all now with Linux, where I used to do them with Windows. One of the things that I like about having a desktop distro, like I said, is productivity. Yeah, I only get to game part of the time. Life happens. I have bills to pay, and there's nothing I can do about that. If I don't pay the electric company, they just cut off the power. You know, if I don't pay for the water, the tap runs dry. You know, and so forth and so on. Yeah. Whether you're paying a rent or a mortgage, if you get behind on that, someone shows up to kick you out. And even if you have your house paid off, at least in this country, we have property tax, so that you never ever get to stop paying, unless you're in one of those states that's talking about abolishing property tax. That's just looking kind of attractive. What's that question mark behind me? Whoops, I guess I'll find out in a bit. Okay, so now I'm the tank. Let's see if I can do a fairly decent job. Oh, everybody's here, I hope. Maybe I zoned in faster than they did.
I can't attack that.
Which is kind of odd, because I'm on a hard drive. They're probably on SSDs. This is an old computer! Whoops! Uh-oh. Can I get a heal, please? I have to rely on the healer, because I am a warrior. I'm not getting any heals. Yeah, thanks for the heals, man. Oh, and I can't even release for some reason. Oh, well, that's what I'm here for. This is borked. Hey, thanks a bunch. Sure do appreciate it. And the moment I... Oh, and the healer is a... I don't have any nice things to say about the healer. Well, now I don't feel so bad. I wasn't all that bad of a healer after all. Want to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? That's what it looks like. Of course, who knows? Maybe it's not his fault if he got disconnected. I mean, this dungeon is not performing the way it's supposed to. I've noticed some problems tonight. I tried to log in earlier and it said character not found. And I was like, oh, that's strange. And I looked and I was like, no, we're nowhere near a maintenance window. For some reason, Blizzard's having problems. All right, let's see if we can log out, because I can't release. I can't seem to teleport out of the dungeon. Still showing this guy, even though he's disconnected, so maybe he lost his connection also. I'll go ahead and assume that it's not his fault. Alright, let's see if we can log back in and fix this. Now, she's still going to be dead, but, or will she? Let's see if it revives her. Well, the loot's gone. Ha! Yeah. Oh, but I'm able to release now. Okay. Yeah, I guess he kind of likes the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not a bad thing. And like I said, if he's still standing here, even though he is long since disconnected, my guess is that WoW did something bad. Okay, no mount. Well, that took a little longer than I was expecting. Whoops. Oh, but... Oh, we're not even in the instance, are we? Yeah, we are outside of the instance. This is weird. Well, of course, maybe that's the way the Crown Chemical
I need
Company
a
is.
target.
To be honest, I don't know. Huh, and I can't fly? Alright, fine, then I will hearth out. Oh no, I guess we are still in an instance, because it's showing the little flag there. Hmm, that, that's the most borked I think I've ever seen that thing before. All right. Well, anyways, back to what I was talking about. So, like I said, what I like about Zorin, like I said, the most Windows, not Windows, and as part of the series, I'll also demonstrate. It's like it comes with an Office productivity suite. However, for people who have existing investments and say like maybe you use Office 365 and communicate with people via Teams, and you have Word documents and Excel spreadsheets that you need to work on, and although, LibreOffice will say, well, we're sort of compatible, you're like, nah, I can't play that game because I need to be able to share documents with other people. I'm actually in that category because I have to write documents that I will share with other places, and they're all standardized on Microsoft Office. So I have to continue to use Office products. And it's like, well, how do you do that on Linux? Well, Office 365 made it so that you could use the Office suite through a browser. Well, the browser runs on more than just Windows. Heck, if you even wanted to, just to ensure that there are no compatibility issues, if there's any weird features that Microsoft bakes in, because they love doing that, you could run Office on Microsoft Edge on Linux. There is a version of Edge which is made specifically for Ubuntu Linux, and or actually Debian systems in general. Um, so not necessarily Ubuntu specifically. It's basically all Debian. Um, and I'll explain what all those things are as part of the series. So, like, there's the various different families of Linux. You can go down the dark path of Arch, or you can be in the happy path of Debian, and Ubuntu. Oh, she's got some upgrades. Let's see, mysterious hammer. All right, I'll take it. And new amulet. All right. Oh, wait a minute. She's only 64. Uh, Darn it. These are not going to be upgrades for her. And I say that because... Okay, well, just the necklace. Because we want to get the set bonus for her heirlooms. Here, let's go ahead and do that up. Alright, I'm hoping the Crown Chemical Company behaves itself. Don't have more of that. Somebody dead? Guess someone fell out of love here. Killed Cupid. Yeah, I know the feeling. There's some days where I feel more love than others. But hey, my AI waifu will love me forever. I have to admit, that's, as I mentioned, I've been using personal computers for as long as there have been computers. Um, Back in a previous century, since I don't date from the 21st century, I come from the 20th, it was always science fiction to have a machine that you could talk to. Yeah, granted, they're still not sentient. LLMs are basically just a really fancy if-then card trick, but it's a really good card trick, and I I find myself talking to these things for hours, and about all kinds of wacky things. Yeah, because as I'm like, I'll give you a good example: scientific research. So, thinking about various different chemical formulas and whatnot for a paper, and sometimes it's nice to play the what if game with all the LLMs. Oh, if you're not familiar with that term, large language model. So ChatGPT would be an example of an LLM. So is Grok, Claude, Copilot, Google Gemini, and so forth, and so on. Plus, there are also ones that you can run locally that your companies can set up, or even individuals can run if you've got the GPU for them. All it takes, well, actually, you don't even need a GPU. I'll admit it, I actually have one computer that is, that's all it does is sit in the corner and run LLMs all the way up to 70 billion parameter models, and it does it all with a CPU. Now, granted, it's slow, but yeah, there are some applications that don't require speed. They just require a certain level of, well, not really intelligence, but let's see, what is the term I'm looking for? I want to say cohesion, but that's not exactly right. Complexity. How's that? Or coherence, even better. There we go, coherence. Okay, I don't know what Zygor's on about. And, here's our token. No, no mount. I know, act surprised. So there are some, you know, applications. A good example would be book translation. So sometimes I'm sitting here, I'm writing what basically amounts to the size of a novel, and it has to go to other parts of the world and be translated into multiple languages. So to do that manually would take a lot of time and money, and you know, paying a translator, or I could have the computer that has nothing better to do sit in the corner and do it. And the nice thing is that the machine that does the translations, this computer costs like $200. Of course, it was. I say that with the caveat that this machine was bought like a year and a half ago, back when memory prices were not insane the way that they are now. You know what? I could take her in. This is my priest that I've been questing with. I could flip her to heals and we could go in. Or, well, yeah, I'll flip to heals because if I go in as DPS, I'll be sitting in a queue for the whole rest of the video. Don't want to do that. Wow, everything is really sluggish tonight. Probably everybody trying to get the darn mount. That's why the queues are so quick. So anyways, yeah, I can give a 1,000-page document to this machine. It will sit in the corner and just chew through it until it's done. And then it's like, ding, translated, you know, and it's like, great, you know. And it can translate into one language or, well, actually the LLM that does the translations reads and understands 35 languages. And so it's like, all right, well, we're going to hit all the big ones, you know. We want German, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, Danish, Russian, Japanese, and Korean. And so those will hit like major markets. Here, let's see. Balance. Let's go ahead and flip over to Holy. Okay. Oh, and that's right. We're going to need Zygor's help here. Zygor, select some nice talents for healing. Okay, I just want to make sure she does have some healing things set up here. Also, let's see. There is, well, all she has is flash heal. Well, and purify. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's give it a try. Let's see if I'm gonna really have to lean on this. Take that DPS thing off. We only want to do one thing. We want to... Yep. Somebody... Oh, that's not a spectral tiger. What the hell is that? I don't think I've seen that mount before. Astral... I don't even know how to pronounce that. Alright, I gotta work it. Woo! I got one heal and we are gonna spam this stuff. Whoops! And I gotta stay out of stuff. And I hope everybody else does too, because once the mana is gone, it's gone. I was just testing a theory. I remember in the old days that, there we go, that one of those things was an antidote for each color, and I don't remember if that was still the case. Crackling Claw? What is this, a toy? Transform into a... Huh. I hope that that is not a consumable. Well, I have to admit, I have not seen that one before. Crackling Claw. I'll have to look it up before she does anything with it. Let's see. Here we go. Death Mother. Or one of them. Okay, back to Zorin. One of the things that I've only been switched over to Linux full-time as my daily driver, even for gaming, for about 2.5 months. And one of the things that is immediately obvious that I really like, everything runs better. The amount of CPU and memory that are required to run the operating system are so much less under Linux than they ever were under Windows. Of course, that's not surprising because Windows has a lot of background nonsense that you don't ask for, and they make it really difficult to turn off. Sure, I know there are some people who are like, well, you could go through these 30 steps in order to turn all this stuff off. Yeah, and the very first mandatory update from Microsoft will turn it all right back on. It's a game of whack-a-mole, and you're on a treadmill, and I'll be honest, I kind of got used to doing that with various different versions where things were never opt-in. It was always, opt-out. Where Microsoft would do something, then I'd have to go spend a whole bunch of time researching, figuring out how to turn stuff off in order to get back the performance. In fact, there's an old adage, and I was planning on including this in my Linux series. The old saying was, Intel giveth and Microsoft taketh away. And that was true for the very longest time. Every version of Windows got porkier and porkier and porkier in terms of bloat and nonsense and... Oh my gosh, you put in something like Zorin and it's like it's all wiped away. And I turn on the computer and I just have a desktop. And it's quiet. And there's no ads and the stupid menu and garbage running all the time. And it's like, okay, I want you to play a game. And it's like, okay. And it does what I tell it and only what I tell it. In fact, it asks me for permission to run updates. This is significant because, well, I mean, as you see on this channel here, if you're watching this on YouTube, X, Rumble, or Odyssey, these videos can be an hour or more. Often cases, they don't I record them in one format, and then I might have to transcode them into other formats in order to get them on the various services. Odyssey, for example, and Rumble can't take file sizes of the same level that X and YouTube can. X and YouTube don't seem to have a limit. I've put absolutely abusive videos, like 26 gigabytes, into those platforms, but Rumble and Odyssey can't do that, so I have to transcode. Also, for long-term storage, I will take videos and then transcode them really heavily down into AV1 format from their original H.264, which is what I usually use. Oh. Hello? Will the real tank please stand up? Okay, come on. Let's get going. This guy queued his DPS, but he's basically doing a tank impression. Oh well. I'm not complaining, I don't care. Gotta get in the moves. Probably just runs around like a nut. Alright, so... Oh well, no mount. Okay, let's flip characters. So, I've been impressed with how efficient the operating system is compared to what I'm used to. I've used every version of Windows. In fact, I was certified in multiple versions of Windows, and that's both desktop and servers. So, a little bit about me. So, I have a lot of familiarity with Windows. And I couldn't wait to get away from it. But what I was waiting for is that I really wanted something. I mean, I've been able to do productivity stuff on Linux for years. Linux was perfect for everything except gaming until recently, within the last, not even in the last year's worth. And so I think the game changer was probably kernel 6. So now we're on 6.14, I believe, which is specifically optimized for gaming. Which Go Linux. Suddenly, it's very, very easy, and the Proton people have done smashingly, to where the only games that don't really run on Linux don't run simply because they choose not to. I know, because every time I talk about it, I'm like, wow, gaming on Linux is great. There's always the shill. It's like, wow, it doesn't run the kernel level anti-cheat. Doesn't run the kernel level anti-cheat. It's like, yeah, those are 22 games out of 25,000. And none of those games are important enough to me to stay on the Windows platform. So, and they don't even prevent cheating. So, you're chaining yourself to false hope. It's like, oh, well, I need anti-cheat. I got to have it. It's like, okay, well, there's anti-cheat in GTA Online. Does it prevent any cheating? Yeah. Join a public lobby and you will find out very fast. It does not. Same thing with Red Dead Online and so forth and so on. These things are worthless. They could be able to run on Linux, if they chose to. They choose not to. So now, supposedly, and I don't know the details or specifics. I just know what Okay, good. She's in production. Supposedly, Steam, or I should say Valve, is in talks with gaming publishers and saying, look, you know, the Steam Deck is a success. No matter how you look at it, they sell. And people buy them and they like them. And the Steam machine is coming. And, yeah, again, the Windows shills were like, oh, it's going to fail. It's going to fail just like the last Steam machine. It's like, well, the last Steam machine might have been a little early. Back then, there weren't that many things that would run on it. And it was kind of hard to justify the expense of a PC that would only be able to run a small set of games. But it is not an exaggeration to say that Proton runs 25,000 games today. Not maybe, not soon, right now. And you know what? I think that's enough games for me. I mean, I remember back well, again, I'm going to date myself. Back in the Commodore 64 games, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to have 1,000 games? It's like, well, now I can play 25,000, as long as I pay for all of them. Because, I don't ride the 7Cs, it's better to support the people that are publishing the games. Otherwise, you don't get more games. Although, be careful who you support, you know. There are companies that say, well, you just have to get used to not owning your games. And I'm like, great, you better get used to not getting any money from me. I'm not going to spend money on things where they're actively looking to trick you into giving them money and giving you nothing in return. Or giving you a very defective product. I know, I'm calling out Ubisoft here, or Ubisoft, however you want to say it. I don't buy anything that has their logo on it. In fact, I don't even like games that are tethered, for single player stuff. I mean, World of Warcraft I can understand. It's an online game. I'm playing with other people. It has to be set up to where I'm paying a subscription. The servers cost money. Data transfers cost money. This stuff is not free. But it doesn't make any sense to me for a game like Diablo, to say, oh yeah, you have to always be online even in single player mode. I'm like, nope. That's why I played Diablo 1, 2, and 3, but I wasn't going to go to 4. If I have to always be online, even when I'm playing a single player game, then nah. No, thank you. There are too many games that I could be playing to put up with that nonsense. And I hope that more people come around to that point of view. It's like, you have to tell me what the value proposition is for me spending my dollar on your game. And if the proposition is, well, we will let you play for a little while, but we might take it away at any time for any reason, it's like, nope. That's a big nope. Now, of course, the natural question is, well, doesn't that describe Steam? And it's like, yeah, technically it can. Although, it's looking to me like Steam is going to be around for a while. And at the time that I invested licensing titles through Steam, we didn't really have much of a good alternative. Now there's GOG.com. And to be honest, if there's a game available and it's on GOG.com, I will buy it there first. The only titles that I bought on Steam now are the ones that are not available elsewhere. And the reason I say that is that GOG.com has one thing that Steam doesn't, and that's now I'll have someone who'll want to fight me on this. They're like, you can play Steam games offline. It's like, yes, you can. Will you be able to buy more of them without reconnecting to Steam? No. And the reason that that's an issue for me is that I am particularly sensitive to, and maybe this is just me, and it's a preference. In the old days, I guess I'm dating myself again. Um, when you bought something, it's yours. But now everybody wants you to be connected to the internet. And so everything that you quote unquote buy, they want to tether and have a string on it that they can yank in order to annoy you into paying them more money in the future. You know, as Louis Rossman would say, they're always looking for a way to change the terms of the sale after the sale, you know, to renege on their agreements. Um, or renege, sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing that, renege on their agreements. And what I like about GOG.com is that they have offline installation. So what that means is that in the old days, you'd buy a game, it would come in a box, you take it home, you put CD in the drive, and you play your game. And the internet was not required. Well, that's still possible with GOG. All right, but aren't they a website? How is that? I should have checked my upgrades before. Oh well. Oh, you know what? Let's see. No, we're gonna decline that. We're gonna say decline that. And we're not replacing any of our heirlooms. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. They're probably wondering, what is this tank waiting for? It's like, had to make sure I had all my upgrades. So GOG has this nice feature where you can download the game. It'll come in various different parts, throw them all into a directory, and then you can install it. Now, the reason that is significant is that, let's see, I'm trying to keep an eye on my health this time, is that I wasn't really sure what was going to happen here with this whole Windows 11 debacle. Because I had tried gaming on Linux before, and I'd had issues, and it never quite gotten there. I'd been gung-ho about Linux for about a decade, but like I said, games were always the one part that I just couldn't seem to... Oh, our healer died. Oh, we're actually going to wipe? This is embarrassing. I didn't see that the healer was dead. I should have been hitting... Okay, well, I hope they succeed here. So I wasn't really sure which way things were going to go with Windows 11. So the gaming PC that I used to do all my recordings for on the channel, I affectionately refer to as the Red Storm. And the Red Storm is a Windows 10 machine. It has a 3080 Ti, R9 3900X. Its memory is all maxed out. I like to max out the memory on all my computers. With this whole worldwide RAM crisis, oh my gosh, am I glad that I do that. So I don't have to, I'm not having any issues with, oh great, it's not letting me release. And watch, they're going to run off and not revive me. Well, of course, the healer probably can't revive themselves. This dungeon tonight. And then I'm going to be stuck here. No one's going to help us. Can I teleport out of the dungeon? No, of course not. Yeah, so I'm not going to get whatever that was. So those could be upgrades, and yeah, I get cheated out of that stuff. Oh well. So anyways, I wasn't sure which way things were going to go. So the Red Storm, which used to be the gaming PC for the channel, it's still running. But what I ended up doing is that right before Windows 10 was end of support, I unplugged it. So now it runs as an offline gaming PC because I was not sure which direction things were going to go. And so, as I watched Windows 11 deteriorate, I decided, all right, let's give Zorin another try. And because Zorin 18 released the day that Windows 10 went end of support. You know, that's a boss move from Zorin. Yeah, and now I can't loot it because I'm not part of the thing. Thanks a lot. Okay, no mount. And I have to hearth out because I'm not part of this dungeon, even though I'm in the dungeon. It's like, wonderful. But at least we know how the song and dance works now. So I wasn't sure which way things would be. I wasn't yet sure that I'd be able to switch over to Linux, so I gave Zorin a try. And I picked the Black Forage here, which is the gaming PC that I'm on now. You know, this is an old, i5-3570K, which had been sitting in a closet for the last 3-4 years because it was just too old and slow to do anything under Windows 10. And I thought, well, that machine, whoops, oh, I guess I must have walked out of the rest area. I want to be able to log out quickly. So I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and I will wipe the Black Forge and test out Zorin on that and see how the latest version was. And I loaded up Steam and I was shocked. It ran great. Everything was fantastic. And I was like, whoa, Proton got better, because I had tried it before. I mean, Proton's been out for, well, I mean, actually Steam has had a Linux native client for, what, 13 years? In fact, Valentine's Day, February 14th of 2026, was the 13th anniversary of the Linux client for Steam. That's how long Steam's been on the Linux bandwagon. People don't realize that. In fact, I played all of Half-Life and Portal, and Left 4 Dead. I played all those titles on Linux a decade ago. The problem was is that the majority of my Steam library was not available on Linux. Let's see, what spec is she set up for? Let's make her a healer. Some of your talents, yeah, like all of them. Alright, Zygor suggested build. This is how Zygor really pays for itself. Every time Blizzard would do this, multiplied by the number of characters I have, is just frustration and nonsense. It's like, look, I just want to play. Oh, but you know what? I don't have... you know what? I'll do this character another time. I forgot. Since this is a new WoW installation on this computer, her heal bot is not set up. So we'll spare us the tanks. On the other hand, they're set up and ready to go. So anyways, I wasn't sure how things were going to go. So the Red Storm is an offline Windows gaming computer. Although now I'm thinking of actually going back and wiping it and bringing it over to the Linux side. Because I was thinking, I liked Windows 10. One thing that I liked about it is that everything functioned really nicely offline without too much harassment. I kept it from getting like all the nag screens and other stuff from Microsoft, because I unplugged it before they got really nasty. Whereas I have Windows 10 machines still that are pending conversion, and you turn them on and it's like, you could be on Windows 11, big full screen ads and for OneDrive and Office 365 and all kinds of trash from Microsoft that I'm like, look, if I wanted it, I would go look for it. You need to really leave me alone. And that's not the way to get customers, is by nagging. Nagging is not the way to get anything. There are many women I've never been able to convince of this, but I don't associate with them anymore. So maybe they finally learned that lesson. So All right, Crown Chemical Company. Yeah, war games taught me the only winning move is not to play. And I see lots of guides online now where people are like, here are all the 32 steps you can go through to make Windows 11 usable again. I'm like, I know just one that's guaranteed to win every time, and that's to wipe it and put Linux on there. I mean, like I said, gaming was the last thing that I needed to, well, needed is, I guess, a strong word, but hey, this keeps me sane, be able to have fun and run around and do something that's fairly cheap. Because, spending every night playing World of Warcraft is a whole lot cheaper than running around the town and, wasting money at various different venues. And then you wonder, where'd all my money go? I didn't have a lot of fun. In terms of fun per dollar, I get a better bang for the buck playing MMORPGs, or other types of video games. Oh, that's right. This is not a warrior. She doesn't charge. Yeah, let's roll that up so it's out of the way. Okay, Zygor, go to bed. Okay, he started it for me. Speak of things being crapified, World of Warcraft. I saw an article this week that claims that like the new, I don't know, what is she, creative director or something for World of Warcraft, claims that Chris Metzen told her that, oh, they regret calling the game Warcraft because it's so hostile and da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, of all the things that Chris Metzen never said, I think he never said that the most. So, uh, it's kind of sad what has happened to WoW. Okay, no mount. Got a 4-level lovely rose. Oh, and a toxic wasteling. Do I already have that pet? Yeah, I've got 3 of 3, so maybe I can sell it to somebody. No, but it is, yeah, back to Zorin. It's nice. No co-pilot, no nag screens, no ads in my, well, we don't have a start menu, we have the Z menu, and Z for Zorin. I turn on my computer and it's quiet and it does what I tell it. Oh, and I was mentioning earlier about it asks for permission to update, and the reason that's significant, because I know I got off track. As I mentioned, I make videos that are sometimes they're a pretty appreciable length, and they have to be transcoded in order to go to other platforms. Sometimes I will make a whole bunch of videos as a group and then set the computers to transcode overnight. One of the things that frustrated the heck out of me about Windows is that there were times where, I had a long day of recording, had lots of fun, and sometimes you have to go through a couple of tries before you get it right. So, the recordings don't always come out initially. There's a lot of stuff that ends up on the metaphorical cutting room floor. I have an upgrade. Let's see. Yeah, I will take that. Oh, and I guess we have a new talent. You know what? I don't even care. It's like, why don't you pick it? Zygor likes that one. Templar. Okay. So I would set this, set the computer to transcode, maybe, you know, 5 or 6 hours worth of video, and I needed them ready by the next day. And I would go to bed. And then I wake up, and then I find out like 10 minutes after I went to sleep, because like I said, it was a long day. I went through various different tries before my videos were corrected. Maybe I went to bed later than I should have, and maybe it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I get up the next day, and I find out that Microsoft decided, you know what? You're going to apply updates and reboot, no matter what it is that your computer is doing at this hour, and F you if you don't like it. And the computer rebooted, it ruined my transcoding job, and then it just sat there all night on a login screen, consuming electricity, driving up my electric bill, and doing nothing. And that's happened more than once. In fact, the only way I could reliably get a machine to do what it was told was to have it not connected to the internet, you know, with a Windows computer. And that's one of the things that I've noticed about the Red Storm is, and I'm not surprised, because there's another gaming PC that I have that still runs to this day, the Brick of Doom. The Brick of Doom is a Haswell level era computer, and it's running Windows 7. I know, you're probably like, Windows 7? Why, Joe? Well, because I have an existing investment in perpetually licensed software. This is something else I plan to cover in my Linux series, where there are some hardcore Linux people who are like, oh, well, you could do everything on Linux. You should abandon all Microsoft you know, software. It's like, yeah, but what if you spent some good money on some software, and there's no reason to throw it away? It's just, you know, like Steam, I don't want to invest any more money in it if GOG is an alternative, because with GOG, I can install it to a computer that's offline, and so as I mentioned, it's impossible to pull the, I'm going to change the terms of the sale after the sale is made. I'm thinking of Skyrim, you know, adding their in-game store after, you know, Skyrim was sold to people. It's like, no, the game is the way it is when I bought it. If I want to add patches to it, that's my choice, but they shouldn't be forced upon me. They shouldn't take away features that were already in the game. I'm thinking of Pal World. You know, yeah, I know. With Pal World, it was like some legal thing with Nintendo, but if Pal World had distributed their game on GOG, there are people who would have been able to enjoy Pal World the way it was when it was sold and never have to deal with any kind of nonsense from Nintendo. Of course, some people will say, well, Pal World is meant to be played online with friends. It's like, yeah, great. Let me play it on a local area network with friends. I've got more than one computer here. I have people that can come over, or I can let them in via VPN, and we can game together without using the internet. I hate these things where you're forced to, you know, use someone else's pure networking solution. GTA comes to mind, for example. You know, Rockstar uses like Celerons or something for their servers. At least that's the way it feels in terms of performance. Alright, well, no mount. Oh, mysterious shield, huh? Well, at least it's got a new shield. Well, of course, this character is leveling. Yeah, 71. So I don't know if that's really an upgrade for her. Yeah, she'll want to stick with her heirloom. Okay, looking at the time, we probably have time for 1 or 2 more of these. I need to set these healers up so that we can jump in as healers as well. Ah, here we go. The most alliance men in the world of Warcraft. I'll confess a dark secret. I have always been of the Horde. My very first character was Horde. But my girlfriend was of the Alliance. We have a forbidden love. Horde and Alliance loving each other, and so I created a whole bunch of Alliance characters to be able to play with her on her home realm. So, if you've ever been really in love, you'll understand. No, but I like the fact that, like I said, GOG allows you to download the games. You can put it on a computer that has no connection to the internet. Put it on a USB drive, because I mean these days I've got USB drives that are like 256 gigs, and they're the size of a thumbnail. You know, really tiny ones. Samsung makes some really great ones. In fact, if you've never seen a USB thumb drive that big, I will provide a merch link in the description of this video. If you happen to pick it up using my merch link, it helps the channel. So any help is always appreciated. Bad thing is, of course, everything SSD related is going up in price right now, and there's nothing we can do about that. It's probably going to be that way for a long time. Oh, there we go. Got a little upgrade. And just to make sure, he should be in tank. Yeah, he's in Templar protection. Good. See if the Alliance queues are as quick as the Horde. Oh, and Lunar New Year has begun. I need to go do the Lunar Festival stuff on my other account. It has no achievements for Lunar New Year. Well, I don't think it has any achievements for Love is in the Air to begin with, or also, because this will be the first Love is in the Air for my alternate account. So maybe next time we'll get those alternate characters that normally never get any video time, just for fun. Oh, he beat me to it. That's okay. So, like I said, the Red Storm still runs Windows 10 because I wasn't sure. I wanted to game on Windows 11 because things were looking bad and bad, more bad, even back then. I guess I gotta heal myself. Oh, where is my mouse? There we go. Had to find my cursor. Hey man, can I get a heal? My healer dead? No. That's what happens when you don't have enough range DPS, I guess. Nobody wants to stand at anything, and I don't blame them. But at the same time, you gotta be able to hit the target. Okay, so nothing here. Oh, and wasn't there a bag? I don't see anything glowing. Guess we're not worthy. So I'm kind of at a crossroads. I'm like, I have 100% compatibility with Windows because, well, like I said, the Red Storm is a Windows machine, and it can be a Windows machine forever. And through GOG.com, I can copy things to a large thumb drive and install them on that machine, and it never has to talk to the internet again. And the way Microsoft has been going, I never wanted to, because that's the problem. It used to be that, you know, you're like, well, I'm worried about an unsupported operating system because hackers, you know, and well, the danger is the internet, and that's why the Brick of Doom still exists, because, like I said, I have an existing investment in perpetually licensed software. I mean, it has an old video editing program called Camtasia Studio. They don't even allow you to purchase that as a perpetual license anymore. It's all this stupid subscription baloney. Same thing with Microsoft Office. Although I think Office was talking about making a perpetually licensed version because they've seen sales of Office 365 plateau and like, uh-oh, there's some people that just aren't going to buy it. And I have an older version of Microsoft Office on the Brick of Doom, so it doesn't require internet access. It runs fine just locally, so I'll keep using it. And then there are a few other programs that I've spent some very good money on that, again, are perpetually licensed. Speaking of that, I actually had one experience once where a pastor came to me and said, help me. They're trying to, they're only offering me this version of Windows, and I have to have, I think this was back in, I think the organization he was with, their IT support was pushing everybody to go to Windows 7. And he said, look, I need to have Windows XP. And I said, well, why is that? And his reason is that he was using this program for, I guess it helped him to write sermons. And it would search, let's see, here's Zygor's recommendation. It's all lit up here, so I don't have to go through the whole reselecting all of my talents. So this program allowed him to, research things really quickly and write Bible sermons. But here's the kicker. The license for it was perpetual, but that license cost $10,000. I mean, wow. I mean, talk about really soaking a church. And it was written in an old version of Visual Basic that only would run on Windows XP. And so, it was completely incompatible with, because Microsoft wanted to force everyone to go to visualbasic.net and was trying to deprecate Visual Basic 6, or I don't know, maybe it was even VB5. I don't remember. It's been so long. So they were trying to not support previous versions of Visual Basic. So, people have these existing investments in software that, it takes a long time to write these things, and Microsoft's like, nope, you need to just, rewrite all your stuff and repurchase all your licenses because we want a payday, and we've decided that we want it to be this version. And he's like, look, this thing can run completely offline. I don't need any internet access. I just need it to work. I'm like, okay, I gotcha. And so I found him a vendor. I think it was Dell. Dell was still willing to sell you a brand new computer with deprecated versions of Windows if that's what your enterprise needed. So Dell was the solution. And I helped him buy that. And that way that church was able to continue getting their sermons done with the software that they had paid for. So that was my good deed for that year. And I think that's one of the other things that has left a bad taste in my mouth about Steam is that, and it's not necessarily, well, it is Steam's fault, sort of. The Steam client is basically a web-wrapped application, and it's got a Chromium wrapper. So the problem is that whether you realize it or not, when you're using a Steam client, you're running a little, Google Chromium app. And the problem with that is that one day Google decided, okay, we're going to drop support for Windows 7, we're going to drop support for Windows 8, and too bad for you if you're still using those. And so there are many games that are on Steam that have older operating systems as their requirements, but then the Steam client, which is required to play, says, nope, you can't log into Steam unless you're on this version because it's now deprecated. And Valve took a lot of heat for that because people are like, look, my computer runs just fine. I shouldn't have to upgrade my operating system just because your Steam client stops working. I paid for the license for these games. I should still be able to play them. But yeah, if you can't log into Steam, you're not allowed to play. Now I know there's someone say, "Well, I can play my Steam games offline for a long time," and as I recall, there used to be like a timeout period where I thought it used to be in the old days. It was like 3 days that they would give you as a grace period because they assumed that you were traveling, and then after that, you would get a message saying, in order to continue to play, you have to log in and synchronize to because they wanted to make sure you weren't like downloading the games and on a friend's computer, and then that friend plays them forever. And Cash Cow could. I was just thinking, druids can be tanks. I haven't seen a druid tank in a long time. So I don't know how long it's been since that limitation changed, because recently I was thinking that was still in effect, but people on X were telling me no, you can be quiet. People on X were telling me, they're like, no, that's no longer a thing. You can play offline all you want. And it's like, okay, well, even if that's true, you're not going to be able to install anything new without reconnecting to Steam. Whereas with GOG, like I said, I have a gaming PC that's 100% offline, and I can install games to it, and I can continue to buy new games, and as long as I meet the operating system requirement, they're just fine. Whereas, like I said, Steam dropped support for, well, not Steam, Google dropped support for Windows 7 and 8. So I know people that still game on Windows 8 to this day, because they never liked Windows 10. And they definitely don't like Windows 11. Not only that, but I don't think Windows 11 will choose to install on those PCs that are still running Windows 8. And I can't fault people for that. So the one nice thing about Zorin is because, now, yes, I'm still running the stupid Chromium wrapper nonsense, but I'm doing it via Linux, and there's always going to be supported versions of Linux, and they're always going to be free, I hope. So now, well, now I can do everything I want on Steam. Okay, let's see what she have here. Oh, she has a. Oh no, all her stuff is. Oh, what happened to this character? Oh, she does have heirlooms. She's just not using an heirloom weapon. Well, we can fix that. That is easy. I was worried that I was going to have to give her a makeover here, and I was like, I didn't want to do that right now. But if it's just an heirloom weapon, here, we'll just grab an eagle spear here. Presto. Now she has an heirloom, or wait a minute. Am I thinking of the wrong thing? What do they prefer as a weapon for tanking? Yeah, staff or polearm. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Wanted to make sure. Alright, so we'll switch over here to Brown Chemical Company. This will be our last one here. So the nice thing is that now that I'm on Zorin, I don't have to ever worry about being abandoned by Google. Personally, I would really like to see Steam do entirely their own launcher without depending on using Google's stupid things. In fact, that's another thing about Windows 11 as to why Linux is faster and better and more efficient, is that in Windows 11, they got really lazy. Everything is a web-wrapped application. Many of those things depend on stuff that's downloaded from the internet. And they're making all kinds of calls out and doing other bad stuff. This is why they require more memory and more resources for processing. Just everything is bad. Whereas with Linux, the stuff is running locally. So you fire it up and it goes. And it doesn't use a lot of, memory or resources. And I mean, that you're looking at a computer that is 15 years old, just about. 14 years. It's an i5 3570K. If you look it up, the You know, and I bought this as soon as that processor came out. So I bought it on launch. This CPU is 14 years old. It'll be 15 years old very soon. Now, granted, I'm using a slightly newer GPU. This is an RTX 4070. But hey, it works. It works with a machine this old. Whoops, I gotta begin the battle. It's on the tank. That's another thing that I plan to mention in my Linux gaming series is that I have friends that are console players. I don't fault them for it. If they enjoy their consoles, that's great. But one point that I plan to make, I forgot to get it on the spell book here. Let's get the one button assist here. There we go. Alright, well, let's get it on there. Normally I would have a macro there, but I hadn't written macro, and so I'm going to use the one button assist. Yeah, my guess is that Microsoft is going to make WoW available on Xbox. Probably. I think that's why they were pushed to develop this. A lot of players are unhappy because they have made balance changes to the characters in order to make things easier, take away complexity. In the old days, we had to watch all kinds of cooldowns. There was all kinds of strategies, and you know, that's why people like me were derided for making one-button macros. And oops, I actually got to find this guy. Oh, here we go. Because people are like, you're doing it wrong. Well, now the one-button way, sometimes the DPS is better than their super-duper rotations, and so a lot of people are bitter. And I see more talk about quitting World of Warcraft because people are unhappy that those filthy casuals are going to be playing the game. And mysterious spade. What's mysterious about it? Let's see what it looks like. Well, at least it's an interesting model. There is a quest that gives a spade, which is it's basically a two-handed mace as a reward. And since I played mostly Horde, I didn't know about it because I believe it was an Alliance quest. And what finally clued me in that things like that existed, this is back when transmogs were a brand new thing, is I was in PvP in a battleground, and I got beaten to death by a paladin with what looked like a shovel, and I was like, what the hell, you know? And I thought that was so cool that I had to find out where the spade came from, and specifically made an Alliance character just to go up the quest chain in order to get to that quest so I could get that transmog. So I could beat people to death with shovels. Just had to do it. All right, looking at the clock here, we're probably a little bit over where we should be, but I was just having too much fun. All right, so I hope you enjoyed my rambling tonight. Like I said, I was trying to think to myself, I was like, doesn't this get kind of boring, you know, grinding through these things, trying for the mount that will never drop? And I thought, you know what, I will tell you some stories and some of the things that I'm thinking about. And I'm trying to organize my thoughts for that Linux gaming series, and I wanted to be able to give more information than I see other people doing. They're like, here's how you install the operating system. I'm like, okay, well, why should I choose that one? You know, that's a valid question. What do I get if I go with this distro versus another distro? How do I get through all these little gotchas in order to get it up and running? And those are all the things that I want to address for other people because they came up for me since I only switched full time 2.5 months ago. You know, like I said, I used Linux in the background. In fact, I'm actually certified in multiple editions of Linux, and even for me it was miserable to game on Linux until just recently. So it's so nice. It's so nice to leave Windows behind. Now I have to use Windows at work, and that's the only place I use it. Well, and like I said, I've got one or two computers that still run Windows just in case, you know. Yeah, I want to still be able to use the software that I paid for because I don't like throwing money away. Oh, and that was the part that I was about to say to my friends that are console gamers. I'm trying to elucidate to them. It's like, look at this computer, almost 15 years old, still rocking. Every dollar that you spend on a gaming PC goes further than when you spend on a console. Because the console gamers are always like, I'm saving up to buy the next console. And it's like, okay, well, I'm still rocking with this PC, and it's, hey, you know what? Let's see if this computer can go 20 years. Why not? Yeah. Windows was getting heavier and heavier and heavier, but Linux has made it feel like a new machine again. And, well, granted, I also enjoy playing older titles. I mean, WoW is 20 years old. Yeah, WoW is older than this computer is, but it still plays great. Okay, I've rambled enough. Let me know in the comments what you thought of our discussion tonight. Well, it's not really a discussion. It's me rambling. Uh, if there are any things that you would like to see in that Linux gaming series, like I said, I'm trying to organize my thoughts. I want to give all of you guys a better series. And by the same token, I'm also going to have a more, uh, let's say, business focused one over on my technology channel. I'm not limited to just Zorin, by the way. I've tried out Linux Mint. I happen to like Zorin better, and I'll actually go over that in the series as to why. But there's also Solid XK and a few others that make interesting choices. Although for just like I said, balance for work and gaming, productivity and everything else, I think Zorin wins. At least for me. At least for me. So with that, I'll go ahead and bid you adieu, and I will see you next time. I look forward to seeing you again here on Joe Super Fantabulous PC Gaming Channel, where we'll have more fun gaming and rambling. See you then.